Hello everyone, this is Kitsune Curator, back with another cube draft. Initially looking at this pack, there's a few fun options. Bitter Blossom I enjoy a lot as a first pick. It's just a nice and control, nice and aggro, just a good all-around card. There are two-color build-arounds that are enjoyable, but if I'm playing for the win, you probably don't pick a two-color card, because while Wrenn and 6 and Prime Speaker Vannifar are both fun cards, Prime Speaker Vannifar isn't the best. Wrenn and 6 is still arguable in his power level. He could be first picked depending on whether or not the cube supports like Wasteland and Strip Mine and such. I think I'm just going to go with Bitter Blossom here. I'm hoping to wield a Skin Render Hero's Downfall, go with a more controlling style route, I think. Other cards that would be fun to wield would be the Fetch Land, the God Eternal Kefnet, Kavu. Lingering Souls would be cool, and we could go more like a token style build. First picked a black card, we have Duress, Vampiric Tutor, Smuggler's Copter if we're just trying to stay in black. There are two token-making walkers. Parallax Wave is a bomb that I would always love to play, but not worth first picking or discarding our Bitter Blossom or trying to get ourselves into two colors. I think here it's just between the Vampiric Tutor. It's not even between anything, I think it's just the Vampiric Tutor. In their singleton format, being able to normalize basically having two of any card in your deck is particularly good, especially when you are going to be doing something such as what black tends to do, which is either Reanimator or other sort of control style things. Being able to tutor up removal versus a win con is always really good. And here we can just follow up our tokens with Ophiomancer. Still keeps us in black, really gums up the board and makes them use a removal spell on the Ophiomancer. And if it's sorcery speed removal, you still get the token anyways, which is really nice. Other notable cards in the pack are Giver of Runes. We have two-color cards again that are pretty good, Darudia and Miri, but probably not first pickable. And Hangerback Walker and Misha's Factory and Port is just good colorless cards, but I like Ophiomancer. I'm really liking this Bitter Blossom Ophiomancer, and depending on what else we can draw into for this draft, I'll be happy. Let's see here. Grave Titan is the best black 6-drop by a mile. Right now my deck is looking to be a bit more controlling. I think what we can do here, the other option here is Shriekmaw Una's Prowler. I think in this pack, Una's Prowler might wheel unless Reanimation's being taken by someone else. In either case, I think we want the Grave Titan just for the nice top end. The other option is if we try and going a more aggro strategy, we would want the Shriekmaw. But currently with Tutor, Bitter Blossom, Ophiomancer, we're not wanting to go in that direction. This feels like a very controlling style deck, and having Grave Titan as our top end, either as a reanimation target or just a way to end off the game, is a really good place to be. Let's see. In this position, Dark Confidant's the only on-color card, but Walking Bliss is also really nice. Currently our curve only has a 6-drop but nothing else. We can pick this Dark Confidant early and try to skew our curve a little bit to the left. Picking Dark Confidant here keeps us in the monocolor, and he'll get played in most decks. The problem is Dark Confidant doesn't swing as well with the Reanimation deck, just because of how many high drops you want to be playing, which for my playing and from what I've heard from other people drafts is usually 6 people. I am still going to take the Dark Confidant, even though we already have a Grave Titan. If our curve is just everything below and then Grave Titan, we're good. Here, that's a late-ish Scarab God. We're on pick 6. It's a late Scalding Tarn. And Memory Lapse and Muldrifter are okay. I'm just going to take the Creeping Tar Pit here. There is a good chance we go into blue just because blue-black's a really powerful color combination. And I'm not really passing much up here. Muldrifter is decent, Memory Lapse is decent, but I'd rather have Fixing in case I actually want to go into blue later or Splash Blue. Here we have 2 removal spells we're choosing between. Eat to Extinction and Snuff Out. We know in our first pack there was a Hero's Downfall. The fact that Eat to Extinction has made it this far makes me think that that Hero's Downfall is going to make itself back around. And right now we don't have any removal at all, so we're trying to decide whether or not we want to deal with Planeswalkers in a better way. If we're staying in black, we want to value that a bit more, and we know that general removal is going to be coming around given Snuff Out is this late anyways. I'm going to go with Eat to Extinction on a hedge that Hero's Downfall doesn't make itself back around. And see, now we can just go hard into this control deck. Toxic Deluge is the best black sweeper by far, especially with things like Grave Titan or Grave Titan or high toughness things. The ability to choose basically a one-sided Wrath on occasion is really good. I'm really upset we're passing the Godless Shrine and the Custodial Lich. And honestly, Custodial Lich might be the better pick in this scenario. But right now all of our cards are 1 black, and being able to shift over is better. And like, it's a close call, but I actually think Deluge is a little bit better. So yep, both black cards made it back around. This is a very good sign for us. It makes this pick actually interesting. I'm going to go with the... We took the Eat to Extinction already, so we already have 1 Planeswalker removal. We can tutor for it if we need be with the Vampiric Tutor. Skinrender gives us a body on the board, as well as usually killing a creature. I think because we already have the Planeswalker removal, I'm going to take the Skinrender, but I'm not 100% sure about this pick. Given those 2 wheeled, yep, that's what I was going to say. The Duress came back around. So here's where we have to decide whether or not we want to try to shift into a more reanimating style deck. If so, Gristleband is really nice, but I think I'd rather just lean towards the more control plan. And Duress is a really nice option. Again, difficult pick between these two. I'm going to go with Duress, given that I haven't seen any reanimation as of yet. And given how many creatures we have, we don't have any red lands yet, but Daretti could be a really nice addition to this deck. Ophiomancer, we can sacrifice the... Oh no, it's only artifacts, never mind. We're going to go with the Hanger Pack Walker then. Even though he's a good card, he's not worth splashing into. Okay, Una's Prowler made itself back around. I forgot about that. If I would have been thinking about Una's Prowler for the reanimation deck, Gristlebrand might have been better. We'll hedge our bets here. And here we will take the Vindicate. It's a way to remove any permanent, and we can splash it maybe, although the Godless Shrine hasn't come back around. That's an easy pick for us. Scarab God means blue-black is pretty open, and it looks like mono-red aggro is not being drafted by anyone yet. So first pack, overview, we're in a very solid black control style deck. We might be splashing white, we might be splashing blue. Here comes this pack. We have a Chupacabra, we have a Murderous Rider in our colors. Outside of our colors, the notable cards for me would be the Signet, the Chain Lightning, and that's kind of falls off after that. Like, there are good cards for other decks, but nothing I would want to start going into another color for, especially when we have 2 good removal spells here. Given we saw Skinrender wheel in the first pack and both black cards wielding, we basically are we're most likely going to get both of these black cards back. In the world that I don't, I think I'm going to be doing Murderous Rider, because I want those. I want more of that kill spell stuff. Although Murderous Rider, I think with X-Mage, Dark Confidant, and Murderous Rider might not be a good combo. We'll have to see. In this pack, we have Liliana and Rankle. Given our tokens, Rankle is pretty good. But again, I think I can hedge on the fact that black isn't really being played by anyone, at least in the passing to the left direction. And in other decks, the aggressive deck's going to take Bone Splitter, Reman's going to get taken by the blue counters. There's a bunch of other cards in here that I think, based on the fact that nothing black got taken from a lot of the previous packs, I think we can go into Liliana's Last Hope and wheel Rankle. Because of these 2 cards, I would rather have Liliana as a win condition and also a way to control the board as early as turn 3. But this is shaping up to be a very nice deck. And we get followed up with the Glint Sleeve and another Liliana. There's also a fetch land that we don't really have a use for yet. I'm hoping to actually be mono black if possible. In this case, it's the decision between Glint Sleeve and Siphoning Liliana the Veil. We could just rename this draft, picking between 2 good black cards and looking at your deck. Right now, what I'm thinking is we don't have much card draw except for our Dark Confidant. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner is going to give us more draw, but this is tough, because Liliana gives us more removal, it gives us a way to grind out the game, and I think they're most likely going to wheel. I think Liliana has more of a chance to wheel just because it really pushes you into black, so I think I'll take the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner because I'm not upset if the Liliana doesn't come around, but I want early plays. Now, is this a recurring Nightmare deck? We currently have our Skin Render, we have Ophiomancer, we have Grave Titan. We can start shifting in that direction. Cards we're passing up for this take is a Volrath Stronghold that usually comes back around. Phyrexian Revoker would be nice in the sideboard, or even main deck, but I think we'll take a hedge bet on the recurring Nightmare. Black has a lot of good ETBs, and we could be splashing into another color for them. And we already have some discard outlets, or just one, I think. Yeah, with the Una's Prowler. Hoping to see more hand disruption, maybe more removal. There it is, removal. We can get one of these two. We don't really need the Guardian Idol. I think we're just going to take the Go for the Throat here. Destroying target non-artifact creature is usually better than the -5/-5, because most of the time when you're seeing an artifact creature, it's going to be bigger than that anyways, because it's usually been tinkered or reanimated. Other notable cards in this pack are going to be Fractured Identity. That seems late. Well, it's pick 5. So that seems to me that no one to our left is drafting white-blue. Sour Temptation is a bit late. And there are a few other decent cards in the pack. Inquisition is perfect for this deck. Other cards would be nice. That would be Skull... Ooh. So we have Bitter Blossom, we have Hangerback Walker, we have Ophiomancer. I actually think we take the Skull Clamp. We're going to be taking 8 cards out of this pack, so 2 will come back around. Inquisition has a non-zero chance of coming back around, although most likely I think it might be Sylvana Stampede and Sun Titan. Maybe the Ajani. So it's not likely to wheel, but this deck just loves Skull Clamp, especially with how many 1/1 tokens it can make, and we can really just start outvaluing our opponents. So far, I think we would still play the Scarab God in this deck. Currently we have a Creeping Tar Pit, and we would just require a few more blue lands, and our black commitment's pretty nice. Speaking of good cards with token decks, we have Yawgmoth. He's also a way to give us card draw. Also a way to remove things. We already have a Toxic Deluge, so we don't need Damnation. One card will come back around from this pack. It's probably going to be the Bolas God Pharaohs, but if it's not, it'll most likely be one of these 3 black cards. Yeah, it'll be Nico Bolas God Pharaoh or one of the black cards, but having Yawgmoth in this deck is really good. And we're just getting more good black sacrifice style cards. Braids I'm not liking as much in this deck, if only because that I don't have any way to ramp Braids out. Braids is usually best when ramped out on turn 3 in one way or another. I can actually see Carrion Feeder doing decent if this was a more aggro list. I think I'm going to take the Mimic Vat for the sideboard. I don't think we're playing any of these cards. And Mimic Vat gives us a way to recur things. And as we can see, Chupacabra does make its way back around. We get to play that. Another really good ETB for our recurring Nightmare. And we are set up very well for a really good mono black deck. Which means... Interesting, Liliana did get taken. What did the deck that didn't take Chupacabra take Liliana for? Well, in this case, we'll just take the Fetid Pools. It gives us a fetchable blue-black, so if we find any more of the fetches coming around, the Scarab God is an easy enter, and the other cards aren't really going to be playable, so I'm still happy about getting a playable card out of that pack. And here we're going to take the Verdant Catacombs for our fetch. That gives us 3 blue sources, which means we only need 2 islands left in order to get 5. Usually the number is 4, but given how little we need of that, and we'll just be monocolor for the rest, that should be fine. And now we can also smash the Baleful Strix. The other options could be Phyrexian Revoker or Volrath Stronghold, but given we have one more pack, if we just want to do a little bit of more blue, Baleful Strix works very well in this deck. I don't think we're going to splash a counterspell. We're not playing Whirler Rogue. I don't think we're going to play Guardian Idol either, but it's the only card that might make the list. See, Inquisition's coming back around. We are definitely in the open lane, which makes that Liliana not coming around very confusing. Final pack, we're looking to be mono black, maybe splashing blue. This is not a good pack for our deck. This means we're just looking for other things that our deck might be able to want to play. Given that we have Skull Clamp, we have Yawgmoth. Bloodghast isn't the worst in this deck. I don't think we need the Coalition Relic, given most of our curve tops off earlier. It wouldn't be bad, but it's better than the multicolor decks. I don't really want to splash blue for Ponder or Concave Cryptologist. But Bloodghast is going to wheel. Like, I don't see a pack where it doesn't. So maybe we get a little greedy, splash a bit more into blue, and just take the Ponder. That might be a better choice, just because we've seen so many black cards wheel. Black aggro is not really being drafted. Or, yeah, black aggro might be being drafted in case we won't get the Bloodghast back around. Yeah, we'll take the Ponder. And if we don't get Bloodghast, that's fine. We're not really an aggro deck. This, however, we will take happily. We're going to take the Hymn to Terra. That gives us a way to make them discard. Unfortunately, given the card, this is a card I've been wanting to test, but given that it's a white-black walker, we have two options. It might come back around and we might be able to splash it, but given how good our deck is going already, I don't want to screw that up by trying to splash white. But yeah, right now we have more than enough playables, so we're really just trying to tinker, so we're going to take lands higher than anything else. That's one thing we maybe should have done better this draft, is pick lands, because we're going to have enough playables for sure. Here we're going to take the Woe Strider to test, and because we have a bunch of ways to make 1/1s, and being able to scry and just filter our draws even more is going to be very good. The Escape Clause, depending on how long the game goes, we'll probably be able to activate once, but that's good enough for our deck here. This deck could have been an interesting red-black deck instead, depending on how the drafts would have gone. Here we'll just take the Demonic Tutor. Being able to tutor again for anything in our deck is very important, especially when we have things such as E2 Extinction, Murderous Rider, Recurring Nightmare. We can start setting up plays a lot better in that regard. There's also a potential world where we're just mono-black. We have to evaluate how good Scarab God is in the list. And it might be good enough. It might not be. We'll see once we get fully through the draft and if there's any other blue reasons to play blue. Ponder, Strix, and Scarab God are probably reason enough. Here we're just going to go more into the sacrifice package. Flesh Carver is really nice. Both in just being a 2/2 that can make another 2/2, but if we start sacrificing Bitter Blossom tokens, goats, snake tokens, we actually have a very cool mono black sacrifice deck. We have 3 more packs to find Blood Artist. That would be the dream, especially for this deck. But we'll happily take Thoughtseize, given the fact that we have the 3 discard spells is really nice. And it means we can make sure we have the better control of what's going on in the game. This deck might not play the Noxious Gearhulk or the Grave Titan. Stop the curve at 5. Here we can take the Bloodstained Mire. That gives us our 4th color on color fetch. It means we have 4 for our blue, so now we can definitely splash blue, because now it's just 1 island. We can even do 2 to make sure we have the early stuff for Ponder or Baleful Strix. Now we have 1 more pack left. We're hoping for Blood Artist, but it's a 400 card cube. But we'll also take Pack Rat. Pack Rat gives us a way to discard for our Recurring Nightmare. It makes it so we can basically have an onboard threat that goes off on its own. This is a really solid deck that I'm happy with, especially with how the curve is looking. We don't really need to play Noxious or Titan. We might play them if we're playing the Recurring Nightmare package. Actually, we're going to play Recurring Nightmare regardless, just because we have Skinrender, Chupacabra, and yeah, see, we made the right call with Bloodghast. It was wheeling back around. Whether or not we're even going to play it is a different question. But I think we're playing both Dark Confidant and Glint Sleeve for draw. We have Yawgmoth for draw. And Skull Clamp. I think we have enough draw engines where we can actually reliably get 6 lands, so maybe the top end is worth playing. We'll have to see. Well, Ghost Assassin did come around. We don't have any white fetches or white ways to get it, so we're not going to take it. I think we'll just take Arcane Denial and the chance that maybe we want to sideboard it in. But our deck really doesn't want to give our opponents cards, so we're probably just not going to be playing it. There's the Order of Midnight. That can get back a lot of our creatures. What's also nice about our deck is besides the three, the tutors, tutors that discard spells, we're a heavy creature deck. So Order of Midnight can probably actually get us back something nice. Here we'll just take the Daze, I guess. I want to try to build this deck without the blue to see what it looks like and see if it's worth adding the blue in once we get to deck construction. And there, we even get Night's Whisper. So yeah, we have a bunch of ways to draw cards and play a really nice mono-black control style game. We're not playing Show and Tell. I guess no one's playing Show and Tell. We'll take it anyways. And Dread Wanderers. Yeah, no one's even playing the aggressive deck. So yeah, we'll put this all to the sideboard. Sort by CMC, and let's take the cards we really want for the deck regardless. Thoughtseize, Inquisition, Duress, Tutor, Skullclamp. Bitter Blossom, Dark Confidant, Demonic Tutor. Go for the Throat Glint Sleeve, him. Night's Whisper, Packrat. Recurring Nightmare, Ophiomancer, Liliana Fleshcarver. Eat to Extinction, Order of Midnight, Chupacabra, Skin Render. Yawgmoth, and Grave Titan and Murderous Rider. So this is what the deck probably looks like without blue. What we get with blue is a finisher with the Scarab God. Baleful Strix. Is that really worth playing the blue for? What would we take out for the Scarab God in this list right here? And actually, we're a lot lower on creatures than I thought, so I actually think we might not play the Recurring Nightmare. Yeah, so we're not gonna. We'll keep this in the sideboard for now. How many good ETB creatures do we have? Grave Titan, Skin Render, Chupacabra, Fleshcarver, kind of, but not as much. And that's it. Yeah, we're not gonna play the Recurring Nightmare, which means right now we're at 23. Our curve kind of stops at 4 besides the Grave Titan. Oh, I know, we should put in the Toxic Deluge as part of our control strategy. And actually, if we take out the Grave Titan, we can play 14 cards. So we can put back in a Woe Strider here. And this means our Dark Confidant is only hitting up to 4. Unless X-Mage is being buggy, in which case we'll be taking 6 from that, but we'll submit that as an issue if possible. But right now we have a very good mono-black control deck. And right now what we could take out, so right now we're thinking on whether or not we want to add Baleful Strix and the Scarab God. And what we can replace for those, Baleful Strix would probably take the place of... What would we replace Baleful Strix in? Well, Scarab God would probably replace Woe Strider since they're both eating stuff from Graveyard. And I think I would like the Scarab God more than Woe Strider. Now, in that case, we probably want to play Baleful Strix. And for Baleful Strix, we can probably... We can take out the Order of Midnight. Put in the Baleful Strix. And right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't think we need... Actually, no, we want the Hangerback Walker in this deck, which means we're gonna take out... What do we not need in the case of the Hangerback Walker? I don't think we need the... Is this creature or Planeswalker? Yeah, it is. That's tough. But Hangerback is really good with our Skull Clamp and is just a nice way to spend our mana. I think we will take out... This is difficult, sorry for the silence, but let's go with... Actually, no, let's just do the Baleful Strix. It's 2-drop, but we have other things going on. This way we just have the Scarab God in the top end. And this way we have these 4. We just can add swamps, because by that time we've drawn enough. Yeah, it's even suggesting just swamps. And we'll do Full Art Zendikar. And we actually have a basically mono-black list. The question is, do we even want the Scarab God? I think we do. Well, we would put in maybe Gravetide, but then we have 6 mana, we're not going to play 16 lands. But yeah, I'm going to go with this list. I think there's debate on whether or not you want Recurring Nightmare. I don't want it really in this deck, I'm pretty sure. And I think just going mono black where every one of our lands can produce black is going to give us the best chance at making sure nothing bad happens with our mana base here. So let's save the deck. Today's the 9th. And I'll see you back for round 1.